I just went through all my mail for the past year, maybe 2 years. And I understand it's maybe a little late to do that. But by doing this, I've learned 2 things. I got 3 jury summons, and I've not been arrested, and approximately 15 medical bills from UCLA Health for outstanding copays. And they just stopped sending them in 2021, like they gave up. Ergo, medical bills and jury summons are not real. You're welcome. And does anyone have a paper shredder? Cause we're in need.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
We've never had this many medical bills before. I have been putting off paying our medical bills. Let's total it all up. At the beginning of this year, I had some really severe mental health stuff going on to the point where I had to go inpatient for 72 hours and then outpatient for another 2.5 weeks. My daughter got tubes in her ears. Last weekend, my son had a severe allergic reaction where he went into anaphylactic shock. So we were in the emergency room twice. They transported him in an ambulance, and then we had an overnight stay. There's a lot. There's a lot of bills that have just been kind of piling up. I'm about to take care of them right now. I'm sure some things I can just pay off right now and other things might have to go on some kind of payment plan. One of those things that I've been dreading to do. I finally need to just make the phone calls and make it happen. It's not going to be fun, but this is what it is to have adult responsibilities.
So last month I told my boyfriend that I was really excited because it was my the next month, so February, this month was going to be my last payment on one of my medical bills, and that made me really excited. And that was the 25th, and then the 25th came and I got an email at 6 a.m. and it was like, your payment didn't go through. And I was like, well, that makes sense because I got a new card 2 weeks ago, so let me call and give him my new card. And when I called, the lady at the thing was like, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't look right. Let me leave a message for the higher up lady and she'll call you back. She called me back and she told me that A, my balance is more than it says. B, that she doesn't know how I'm paying this bill and how it was set up, even though it was set up through a person, through them, and that all of the emails and bills and everything is going through them. But she says that she doesn't know how it's set up because it somehow is sent to collections, even though I've been paying a payment plan on it. She's like, I don't even know how you set up this payment plan. And I'm like, but I set up the payment plan with somebody from your desk. And all the payments and emails are coming from this hospital. What?
So I just received a $17,000 medical bill. We love that. And it's crazy because I was just over here last night, like literally before I opened the mail. I was just telling them, I'm like, dang, I must have some good insurance because I didn't have this surgery. Nobody called me and said nothing. Like, I don't have a balance or nothing. Lo and behold, whole time, I don't know why I'm actually right here. Whole time, I'm about to open the largest medical bill I ever received in my life. How the fuck is this legal? It's no way possible that it's legal, that it should be legal for these fools to send me a medical bill for $17,000. Now, granted, I know that I am responsible for it. Will they see it anytime soon? Probably not. I'm just being honest, probably not. They don't really expect me to pay that. Maybe they sent it to the wrong address because there's no possible way. And I mean, I do have 2 names, so maybe I'll just pretend like it's not me.
Just another morning having a mental breakdown over the healthcare system in America. I had a doctor appointment in January, and then about a week later, I went to the ER because my doctor literally called me and said, please go to the ER. I pay, I think, $360 a month for insurance through my job, Cigna, and my deductible is $7,000. I couldn't pick the next plan up because obviously the premium is more expensive every month, and I need some money to save for myself to like have a life one day and get out of the fucking apartment I live in. But between that doctor appointment and the hospital visit, out of pocket, I owe around $2,400. So both bills are due the first week of April. Or I can sign up for their payment plans. And for the doctor appointment, it would be $114 a month, paid off in 3 months. And for the hospital stay, it would be $160 a month, paid off in 12 months. I said, boy, I can't do that. I could send you each $50. And maybe some months I can send more. But medical bills are now going to put me at $260 a month. I'm sorry, $275. That leaves me with nothing to save and having to cut something out of my life. So the person at the billing center recommended I try to apply for financial assistance. And I found that there's this website that you can check called dollar4.org, and it'll tell you if you will likely qualify or not for the assistance. Thing tells me my income is too high. In what world? Almost every single person I associate with makes more money than me. Does this assistance program know how much housing costs? I have a car payment, I have rent, I have insurance, I have health insurance, I need to eat. I don't understand America. I don't understand how any individual person is supposed to live without splitting their housing costs with somebody else. And I clearly am not doing that right now. I just never thought that putting the time in, going to college, working hard, getting a job, staying loyal and committed to a company for over 5 years would leave you in a position where, like this. I'm so angry. Rant over.
Can somebody please explain to me why having private insurance? I have a full-time job. I work for the state. I have I don't even know if it's called good insurance, but an ER visit where I received maybe 2 bags of fluids, a shot of Finagrin, a Zofran to go. I was there maybe 2 hours. After insurance is going to cost me almost $3,200 out of pocket. What the actual F?
Can someone please explain to me why I'm still getting medical bills even 9 months after I stopped going to doctors who took insurance? I had really good insurance. I always paid when I went there, and I've just it's constantly just so many medical bills that come after the fact, months later. I truly don't get it. What have we been paying for? What? Can I get one bill and just so I can pay it and just be done with this? This is so frustrating.
Question: If I have a surgery that costs $20,000, life-saving surgery or whatever, can y'all just bill me? Can y'all just bill me if I have to have surgery? And your insurance is not gonna cover it. Bill me, because guess what? Guess why? I'm not paying that bitch. I'm not paying no medical bills. I'm not paying that bitch. You can suck my dick.
So I have some breathing issues right now, and I already know that if I get surgery for it, it will be a lot of money. It'll be a lot of money, even with good health insurance. I have pretty good health insurance right now, but it'll still cost a lot of money. It might cost $3,000 to $5,000, and it is a lot of financial strain. But I do need the treatments, so you guys wish me luck.
Medical bills are negotiable? What? Did anyone know that? Because I did not. We had a baby in December 2022. He just turned 10 months old. I just received a $500 medical bill in the mail this week. And I was like, what? So I called to confirm, I thought I paid everything. She was like, oh yeah, no, this is correct. We have 3 years to send the bills out. I was like, what? 3 years? That is crazy. But we have 30 days to pay. I did not say that to her on the phone. I was very nice and respectful because it's not her. But that's what I was thinking. Anyways, I was frustrated about it and complaining about it to one of my friends. And she said, oh my gosh, yeah, I got a 30% discount for paying in full. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I didn't know that not paying in full was an option, especially getting a discount for doing it. So she told me to call and ask for a discount for paying in full. I was like, sure thing. And she goes, but I know for a fact they'll go up to 30% because she asked me about it. So if they offer you anything less, go back and ask for 30. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I call, ask for a discount. The girl puts me on hold to check. And she's like, oh, yes, ma'am, we can offer you a 20% discount. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I was really hoping, is there any way you could do 30%? And she put me on hold to go check again. And she was like, yes, we can do 30% off. So we'll send you a new bill. I am shocked. I will never pay another medical bill without asking for a pay in full discount. I posted this story on my Instagram stories, and one girl was like, I saved $750 by calling and asking for a pay in full discount. And you're in no worse position if you call and ask and they say, no, we don't do that. Then it's like, okay, well, you're in no worse position than if you hadn't called. You're welcome. I hope it works for you and one of your medical bills out there. I really hope it works for me again. I'm just so shocked. I had no idea that was a thing. My parents didn't know. None of my friends knew. So you're welcome.
$17,000. Are you kidding me? That's what it costs. I know, obviously, not new to anyone. Healthcare is expensive in the United States. But I recently got my IUD inserted. First time. That was painful. Not a fun experience. Very grateful that I do it. And I'm very grateful that I have good health insurance through my work, because I just saw my claim come in for that. And if I didn't have insurance or if I didn't go in network, it would have been billed for $17,400 and change. That is ridiculous. This was max a 20-minute appointment after a long wait in the waiting room. But $17,000 for that. This is crazy. I didn't even see that cover up cost. They didn't tell me I had any deductible. I had to pay $90 after everything else is hit with my insurance. But thank God I have that, because $17,000? Who has that kind of money? That's ridiculous.
I just got home and noticed that I have a $3,000 bill from the hospital. I was there last month because I was having horrible pain in my stomach, and they ended up finding out that I do have stones in my gallbladder, which I'm gonna have to have surgery, and that's a whole other story. So if you guys want to know more about my journey with my stones in my gallbladder and my stomach pain and all that, let me know, comment down below, and I'll make another video about it. But it's crazy because I was at the freaking hospital for less than 24 hours and I have this expensive bill. Do I have insurance? Yes. Am I gonna pay it? Yes, because that's just the way I am. And no, I'm not gonna let this go to collections because I don't want it to affect my credit score. And I remember that day I was like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm not going to the hospital because I didn't want to have this expensive bill, and I still have to have surgery, and that's a whole other story. And I'm just overwhelmed, and I'm just oh my God, at least I'm okay. But still, this is so discouraging. This is why people don't go to the emergency room.
Okay, y'all, so since I have the knowledge, I'm going to spread it, because I had seen this man. He basically said he put his medical expenses over his rent, which is insane. But I am here to tell you, when I used to work in healthcare insurance, that there is a thing called charity care. Please look into it. 9 times out of 10, if you can't afford your medical expenses, you can apply for charity care, and you sometimes will get approved as 50 to 100%. So 50%, you would have to pay 50% of the medical expenses, and then if you get approved for 100%, they'll cover 100% of the medical expenses. Okay, there's also something called presumptive charity. They're not going to tell you about it, but presumptive charity basically covers and writes off all of your medical expenses. They won't tell you this over the phone, but yeah, check out charity care.
Health insurance, medical care as an adult, terrible. Maybe it's just Arizona. I'm hoping it's just Arizona, because I haven't had this expensive experience back home. Why do I have to chase down my doctors to give me a call back? My OBGYN has not given me a call back since October. It's January 2024. What's that again? My PCP, I asked her for specific blood work. Request all the other blood work except for the one I asked her to do. I asked her why she didn't do it. She was like, everything looked fine. Everything else checked out. And I was like, ma'am, I had to get infusions for a reason. Look at my previous labs, took pictures, screenshots, sent it to her that she had to put in the work. I went home for almost a month, and I had set up an appointment back home. So I requested some of my records to transfer back there. Do you think that by the time I got home, that my records were there? They were not. It's hard. I'd rather be back with my mom's insurance plan and have her deal with all this, okay? Because no one tells you about this. No one tells you that your doctor's office might send your lab work that was taken in office to an out-of-network office. An out-of-network lab. Sorry, y'all. I'm stressed. No one tells you that. No. They say, do this, do that. Everything will work out. Everything will be fine. And it will. In the end, it will. In the end, it will. Yeah. But no, how can you prepare for that? You can't.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
I just got a bill for blood work I had done in April, and I owe $327.61. So originally it was $4,418.62. They had it adjusted and took off $4,074.27. My insurance paid $16.74, and now I owe more than the insurance paid. I owe $327.61. Also, this is a lot of the tests I had done. It was a lot. Also, should I be concerned that some of these are on here multiple times? That seems kind of weird. Anyways, because this was back in the spring, I just thought it was covered, because I'm pretty sure I didn't receive a bill before now. So I was like, cool, must be all good. So I was not prepared to pay $327.61 right now. Okay, re-looking at it, yeah, insurance just paid in September. Now, back in April, I had not met my deductible yet, but I have now. I have by the September date where they paid. I'm assuming that because at the time of service I had not met my deductible, they will not be paying more money. But can anybody confirm or deny that? Please let me know. Thank you.
Okay, this is how messed up the American health system is, right? So, you pay for, a premium every month just to have insurance. So you can go to the doctor. You go to the doctor. It's a well visit. It's supposed to be free, right? Great. Free, you walk in, everything's supposed to be, they're like, hey, I'm just here, but, we have some issues. Okay, well, sounds like your kid has exercise-induced asthma. Had breathing problems off and on whole life, but it's been years since we've used the nebulizer, whatever. But now we're doing more vigorous activity, hard to breathe. Let's try an inhaler. Okay, sounds reasonable. Let's do it. So now they want you to have one on you to be able to take to school and one to have at home, right? So then you go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy is supposed to give it to you. Oh, but insurance will only pay for one inhaler and not the whole thing either. They only pay for part of it. And then you have to pay for the second one. You're like, okay, whatever. We need it. Probably not going to use it that much. It's fine. So then they need a spacer to be able to breathe it all in down in their beautiful lungs. Oh, but it needs to be a generic spacer. Your doctor ordered the name brand. So now we need to call the doctor and fax the doctor and get an order for the generic spacer, right? Okay. So that takes a whole nother day. So then you have to come back and you go to the pharmacy and you're like, okay, I can get my spacer. $49. They wanted me to pay $49. Do you know what I did? I sat in that line and I got on Amazon $15. $15 on Amazon to buy a spacer. It was $12, but with tax and shipping overnight, it was $15. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They want me to pay $49.01 for one spacer. Not even for each inhaler. Okay? That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't get it. Why do we even pay for insurance? Like, we met our out-of-pocket max for our family this year, and there's still like all of these fees here and there for things that you still have to pay for. You still have to pay for it. I don't know how, there's a ton of families out there that their families are healthy. They never go to the doctor. They don't have anything wrong with them. Well, good for them. But you know what? That's not our family. And that's not a lot of families. And you know what? Medical debt sucks. We're going to have it forever. It's just going to be forever. And we're just going to have to keep paying for things. But it's like overcharging us and all this other stuff that it's ridiculous. There's times where I'm like, why do we even have insurance? I think that we would be better off if we were just self-pay. But it's illegal. Then you get taxed. Like an extra fine or whatever crap for not having insurance. And then if something really big happens and we don't have insurance, then we're screwed. But they used to have like insurance that was like for crazy things that happen that you could get that was like, okay, well, that makes sense. I'll just pay for the rest of the stuff. We got to do something about this in America. This is crippling people. Like, I don't want to lose my house because we have medical issues that we can't fix. Like, there's nothing that we can do to fix it. Okay? So people have got to realize that this is a major problem. And we don't even have like major medical things. We do have like chronic illness and stuff and things that take a lot, but major, like, I don't know how some of these families do it. I really don't. I do not know. And the fact that people just don't care is mind-blowing to me. We don't have cancer. We don't have like a muscular degeneration or anything like that. There's tons of families that are out there like really struggling just to take care of their family, let alone thinking about the medical bills. Seriously, like, can you imagine your child like suffering and then you're suffering and you're just trying to get by and then you're like, how are we going to meet our medical bills? This is crazy. Politicians need to get together. Help us out. The end.
These bills are way too high. Like, we are being overcharged for things that we need to live. If you have a medical issue and you need treatments for it, the treatments should not be so expensive and outrageous that we are in debt for the rest of our lives. It should be somewhat affordable. It should not be like cheap, but we are overcharged with everything in this country, and it is crazy. Because if you get sick in this country, bruh, you're done. You're cooked.
Okay, y'all, a little story time. So most of us get like our EOBs, you know, after you have surgery or whatnot, or any kind of anything done at a doctor's office, and you pay, and you don't really know why you pay, but like they tell you owe something, so you pay it, and then you get your EOB in the mail from the insurance. Not gonna lie, 99% of the time I'll just throw that out and not even look at it, right? But here is why you need to look at it, right? So I had surgery in December, okay? The doctor said I owed him $500. Okay, paid him $500. The hospital said I owed him $250. Okay, paid them $250. I get all my EOBs back. I wasn't supposed to pay the hospital anything. Okay, and in here it says how they have paid the claim in full. Do you think the hospital called me and told me, hey, we owe you some money? No. I have had to be on their ass literally 24/7. Like, hey, I'm supposed to be getting a refund. No, you're not. That was a copay. No, it wasn't. No. My EOB says, no, there was no copay. It said I was supposed to pay anything. Well, I'm not really sure. Let me call you back. Never calls you back. Okay, I've literally probably been calling for 2.5 weeks. They didn't even submit my claim until last week. We're at the end of January, beginning of February. Okay, so I had to be on them. Okay, these people will hold your money. Okay, they have no problems. You may have a credit on your account forever. Okay, and they will just hold it for you, and you're not gaining interest. Okay, so it's probably in your best interest to make sure you read these EOBs that you are paying correctly, because you would be shocked how many times you are not. Okay, and on that same note, here's another thing you should probably also look at. Make sure the providers you're seeing have licenses, right? And I know you're probably thinking, like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I mean, they're practicing. Of course they have a license. Did you know that? Did you know a lot of times practices will submit things under other people's names, and you will never see that person? Now, sometimes they run the corporations like PAs, you know, run under doctors and all, whatever. That's totally fine. But PAs also have licenses. Physical therapists, licenses. Okay? Every state has a licensing. So if you're seen by someone and they are not under someone else and you have never seen anybody else, you need to be questioning, because there's a lot of people practicing without licenses, and you are being billed and paying for someone with a license. Just a little food for thought. Didn't know that little existed, did you? Yeah. Read those EOBs. Ask for those licenses. It's public record. They need to give it to you. Like, my license for my, profession is on the wall in my operatory. Okay? They're public record. Now you know.
I just had my first urgent care visit in years. And as I'm sitting there in urgent care, I have this random bout of gratitude. It's weird to say that I was grateful for being at urgent care, but here's why. For some reason, there was a situation with our insurance and our member ID, and I was like, you know what? I can figure that out later. Let me just go ahead and pay with my business card. So in the last 2 days, I have been able to pay for a pop-up urgent care visit and a great deal of meal prepping and organic groceries using my business card that I never would have normally had. And it's sad to me that some people would have chose to be in the position, because this has been me as well. I used to feel the need to choose pain and longevity versus just going to the doctor and figuring it out because of paying the bill.
Please make this make sense for me. So I go to the dentist, the doctors, the vision, all those places. And they always say to me, you have really, really great insurance. And I'm like, yeah, I pay a lot of money for it too. Then I get the procedure, the prescription, whatever it is I need from them. And then they say, oh, this is how much you have to pay us. Now, please tell me what I missed in here, because the math is not mathing. If I'm paying for this great insurance to cover everything, why in the hell when I get to you, it don't cover everything? It makes no sense to me. This adulting thing sucks, and I feel like I'm being scammed.
So let me give you a part two about my $99,000 medical bill that you did not want or need, but I'm going to give to you anyway. So the part two is that even though my daughter had a surgery at 5 months, she's going to have another one when she turns 19. Because what happens is that the valve that she had as a baby doesn't grow with her as she becomes an adult. And so she's going to need some kind of surgery to fix the valve. So this means that she has a pre-existing condition. So I can't leave my job. Even if I wanted to, I cannot leave my job because if I change jobs and change health insurance, she has a pre-existing condition that will not be covered for her next surgery. And she's 14 now. We're getting to the time where she's about to have that next surgery. It's got about 5 years.
I'm sitting here getting ready to go into work. And the overwhelming feeling today is, what's the point? What's the point? I don't make enough to live anymore. I have so many bills, so much debt from basic living. It's not that I went out and just, blew my cash. It's from basic living, basic things, groceries, gas for my home, car payment, so I can get to the job that doesn't pay me well. I just can't today. And honestly, it's like that most days.
American hospital practices are BS. My copay through my insurance is $25 for a primary care physician and $50 for a specialist. Back in March, I started going to a new primary because I didn't like the other one that I was working with. I go to Premier Health, which is like the massive hospital network in Dayton, Ohio. When I was looking for somebody new, I searched for a primary care physician within my insurance portal to make sure they were in network, because on my insurance card, it says a PCP is a $25 copay. So I was able to find a primary that is within the Premier Health network that I go to and started going to them in March. They have a super easy portal, so I check into my appointment, I pay my $25 copay, go to my visit. I have since visited her in March and in June. I've paid my $25 each time before my appointment. And then I get a bill that says I owe $50. I call the billing department at the hospital and they tell me that it is an insurance issue. And I'm like, okay, so I call the insurance company. The insurance company then tells me that the primary care physician that I am visiting bills as a primary assistant, which means that the coding of a primary assistant is charged as a specialist, which is a $50 copay. So the $50 I owe is the $25 that I did not pay for each of my specialist visits. I strictly visit her as a primary care physician to go get my routine checkup done, for her to prescribe me medication if I need, for her to, refer me to other specialists if needed. I express my frustrations to the insurance person. She totally understands, and then calls the billing department to see if the billing department can recode the visit to qualify as a primary physician. That person says, no, you visited this person, and this person bills as a specialist, so that's just what it is, and we can't do anything for you. The insurance lady tells me that I can submit an appeal. I submitted an appeal. Turns out you have to mail it. You have to mail it because why would they do anything that's convenient for you? And honestly, at this point, it's not even about the $50. Sure, the $50 is very inconvenient. I'm not going to continue to see this doctor that charges me as a specialist when I'm literally not visiting her as a specialist. I'm visiting her as a primary care physician. I told them in my appeal that it's very inconvenient that I now have to find somebody else just because of basically a coding situation. So then I clarify, I ask her, I'm like, so what am I supposed to search for? It's kind of misleading because my insurance card says a primary care physician is a $25 copay. Therefore, I searched for a primary care physician. What else am I supposed to look for? How was I supposed to know that her being a primary assistant actually means that I'm getting charged as a specialist visit? She said, I understand your frustration. What it sounds like you're looking for is an internal practitioner, internal medicine. And I'm like, okay, there's internal, there's general, there's family. How am I supposed to know? How was I supposed to know? Do you understand the issue here? There's a primary care physician, and then evidently underneath that umbrella, there are other practitioners that can charge you differently. How is the general public supposed to know that? How is I supposed to know that? So evidently, if you're looking for a primary, you should search for internal like internal medicine, because that is the person that's going to be able to help you. So I reached out to my primary over the messaging app that I have to reach out to her and asked her if she could recommend somebody within the same building that I go to that actually charges me as a primary care physician $25 copay instead of a specialist, because this is all very frustrating. And again, it's not even necessarily about the $50. That's just like a minor inconvenience in the whole situation of the fact that I now have to go find another primary care physician, internal medicine person that charges me correctly, and then I have to tell her my whole life story about all of the medical issues that I've had so far. Like, it's like dating all over again, or like finding a new therapist. This is just like the cherry on top with all of the other like health issues and billing issues that I've had over the last 2 years. The system is incredibly dumb.
I think that it is really easy to resolve an issue like this. Companies have to clearly explain this on their website so that it is clear to each and every person who has insurance with them. You have to get a general practitioner, not a specialist or a primary assistant. They have to clearly explain these things so people are clear about what exactly they are paying for.
Part 2 to ditching insurance, your catastrophic coverage. Now, catastrophic care is really what insurance should be used for. So this is going to be things like you're in a horrible accident, you have an appendicitis and it gets infected and you spend 2 weeks in the hospital, or you got cancer, the really, really big medical bills that are in the hundreds of thousands or even more, like $1 million. There are so many low premium, high deductible catastrophic plans on the market. You can really just Google search and take your pick. We actually use a faith-based healthcare sharing ministry for our family just because that's what works better. We have really active teenagers, and so if there's like a broken bone or something like that, we need care to cover bills that are a little bit lower than like the really catastrophic stuff. These kind of organizations also do exist on a secular basis too. If faith-based isn't your jam, you just have to do some research in finding them. Your new direct primary care doctor will also have resources available for you on this. In ours, we pay $300 a month, and the organization covers bills in between $1,500 and $250,000. And then we can pay an additional premium for that if we want to increase that coverage beyond the $250,000, which, as my husband's business grows, because we're self-employed, so our budget's really small right now, but as it grows and we're a little bit more stable, we are going to be increasing that coverage. So anything less than $1,500, so that's going to be like your therapies, your PT, an ER visit that isn't like a really big one, those are going to be less than $1,500, so those are all going to be out of pocket, but that's still cheaper than paying premiums for traditional insurance anyway. And then you're in complete control of your healthcare too. An insurance company isn't making those decisions for you. So even if doing this is a complete wash compared to what you're paying now, just having freedom in your own healthcare is really worth the wash. So now at this phase, step 2, with the direct primary care and our kind of catastrophic plan coverage that we have at $300 a month, we're now at $510 a month for our family of 5. So that $510 a month is just the coverages. That's not the actual out-of-pocket expenses that we spend on other things. When my kids and I both see a therapist, that's an out-of-pocket expense that we're paying. We get a reduced rate for that because we're cash payers, so it's very reasonable. My direct primary doctor is able to refer me to a nonprofit organization for imaging, and so we get imaging for really cheap. I had a CT scan for $230, and a mammogram, a breast ultrasound, a biopsy, and pathology, all for $1,200, which for most Americans is just 1 month of the health insurance premiums that they're paying.
New challenge. What is your shortest, most expensive doctor's appointment? Today I beat my personal best. I saw Dr. Sexy for 7 minutes and I paid $97. I have a hard time not making snarky remarks to the receptionist at checkout. Every time they always act like it's so normal. Like, yeah, sure, $97 is exactly what you would pay for a 7-minute appointment. It's like they don't even see it, and I'm sure they do, but they don't act surprised. When they ask how your day is going, I have to fight the urge to say worse now that I'm here. When they give you the receipt to sign at the end, I have to fight the urge to say, oh, you didn't want me to include a tip? Everyone knows American healthcare sucks, so I'll spare you the persuasive essay. I just don't think I'll ever get used to the fact that it's like this. To poke some fun at this dystopian nightmare, I would like to hear if you've got me beat. What was your shortest appointment that cost the most amount of money?
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.